Welcome to the Baller Boys podcast. They're all about sports, and more sports. And now, the Baller Boys, Mark and Shemaya.
Hello, and welcome back to the Baller Boys podcast. It's your boy, Mark, but I am not doing this alone. I'm joined by my awesome co-host, the SOTB, the music man with the plan, Shemaya.
I'm just going to Celtics my way into this segment and really talk about, the amazing stuff that's happening.
Yeah. So this segment, we're going to talk about some first round stud squads and a not so studdy squad, but you guys have to wait for that one. And Shemaya is eager to jump on that one for sure. But guys, welcome back to the Baller Boys podcast. Thank you for joining us. We have multiple episodes released each week. You can listen via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. If you're not into Apple Podcasts, pull up that YouTube app. Pull up the Baller Boys channel on YouTube, and there we go. So we moved on to that platform. But we're going to talk about the NBA first round squads that have just impressed us so far. And some of these series are not done quite yet, but these teams have been impressive nonetheless, just based on what they've done so far. So let's get right down to it. I want to talk about the Dallas Mavericks. They currently lead the series versus the Jazz 3-2. And I've been mad impressed with this team. Actually, this team has been pretty good since they traded Kristaps Porzingis to the Wizards. It just seems like Luka's found his fire again. Other guys are stepping up in place of to fill the production and the void that Kristaps had been previously. And now they don't have to worry about the injury issue with Porzingis. So it opens the floor to these younger guys and other role players to make an impact for the team. And it is shown in this series. One name that we got to remember here, and Spurs fans are probably not going to like this name for years to come, but Jalen Brunson. So Luka Doncic didn't play in games 1 through 3 in this series. Yes, Luka did not play in the first 3 games, and the Mavs lead this series 3-2 against the Jazz. Like what? But yeah, so listen to this. Game 1, the Mavericks lost 99-93. So this was the first game without Luka in the playoff series. Jalen Brunson had 24 points, and they only lost by 6, keep in mind. Game 2, the Mavericks win 110-104. Jalen Brunson had 41 points in this game. Again, no Luka. This was Jalen stepping up, his time to shine. Him and the boys, they got it done. Game 3, in Utah, they get a win, 126-118. Again, Jalen Brunson, 31 points. Who is this dude? This dude is balling. And again, game 3, no Luka. Game 4, Luka's first game in the series. They did lose 100-99, even though they probably should have won this game in Utah. So game 4 in Utah, they lost only by 1 point, but Luka came back for 30 points, and Jalen Brunson aided with 23 points of his own. In game 5, the Mavericks came away with a dub. They won 102-77, blowing out the Utah Jazz in Dallas. Luka had 33 points. And Jalen Brunson, again, showing up with 24 points. Game 6 is yet to be determined. Game 6 is in Utah, so we shall see what happens there. The Mavericks have shown that they can win in Utah. They've proven it, and they can take this series. And I think they will win in Utah. I think they have what it takes to get it done, and the Jazz they're dealing with some mentality issues right now. There's some inner strife going on with that team. They have to figure some stuff out. But Shemai, what are your thoughts, man?
Well, Dallas has this made it in the shade because Utah had too many turnovers last game. And I just don't see them having the discipline to tie the series. Because if you're Dallas, your mind set when you go to this next game is the pressure is really on Utah to deliver in front of their fans. we have it easier because we basically can shut the fans up, and the fans, become Mr. Quiet, like someone else we know in the NBA who's quiet and good at that. Then it just makes more pressure that's unnecessary for Utah to deliver, which I think Dallas is a better team talent-wise to use that little mishap be a benefit for them. And it'd probably be a close game, but it also can be a nasty game where Dallas blows them out in front of their home crowd. And reason why, it's what you just said. The player that you just talked about and his teammates, they just have a better opportunity to kind of wrap things up. Like, hey, Jazz, y'all were great. I love jazz music. We even had little scuffles, but we're going to have to keep this dance without you. You know what I'm saying? So I think Dallas just has the better chance. There's just no way I can see Jazz winning the series unless they can expose some weaknesses in Dallas. But it's going to be hard to find, to be honest, because the games that they won, it's not like they blew Dallas out, right? So you just got to look at reality. If you can't blow them out, then you're basically like, you have to be the better team on that day. But Dallas, if they make those shots and they make those free throws, oh yeah, it's over for Utah. Great team, but I think Dallas just have better star players.
Yeah, I think something's not clicking with the Jazz this season, but
someone's off beat. Someone's not hitting the notes.
They're stepping on each other's feet at this point in Utah. But yeah, no, mad props to the Mavericks. Their younger guys and the role players have really stepped up. If you go look in some of those box scores, you'll see a bunch of guys with double digits. They're just a Spencer Dinwiddie, low key trade before the deadline. Just good stuff. They're making all the right moves. And Luka, his game's back in this series. He's averaged 30 points per game on 45% field goal shooting, 44% from three, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, and 1.3 steals. And like you alluded to, the games that the Mavericks did lose, they were not by much. They lost.
Yeah, it's like they had a mental mishap, and then oops, Jazz won. It was like a oops.
That was exactly what happened. Yeah. Game 4, the Mavericks should have won Game 4, actually. And then Game 1, they only lost by 6, and that was without Luka. So, again, this team has a lot of confidence right now, as they should, given the performances they've put up against this favored Jazz, or this solid Jazz team. But, yeah, mad props to Coach Jason Kidd and Luka and the company and Brunson. These guys have shown that they are fighters, and they've won without Luka, and they can definitely win with him. And I think they're going to clean this series up in Game 6. But
Donovan Mitchell will have to have a beast mode game. Like, he would have to be on fire.
Yeah, he has had
Dallas to lose, in my opinion. Because if he just has a decent game, they're going to lose. He has to have a fire game to where Dallas is concerned about him, and then he naturally is on fire, but still it makes plays for his teammates for them to score. He has to be the loudest and most passionate player on that floor in order for Jazz to win.
We're talking like 35 points, right?
At least.
Yeah, he's got a ball. Like, who else? I don't know anyone else on that team who's going to provide 20 points for him.
He has to make Dallas want to cry and be like, we weren't expecting this game plan. Yeah. That's the only way they can do it, because I'm telling you right now, Dallas, the players that they have on that team, I think they're going to be feeling like the old Dirk days and be like, yo, let's make a run.
They really do feel that way even now. So that's a great comparison. And like you said, in Game 6 is in Utah. So all the pressure in the world is on the Jazz to deliver in front of the fans. Like
it's mentioned. A freebie for Dallas. They're like, we ain't got no pressure. We can take a nap on halftime show. And wake up and still beat you.
Yeah. Oh, we can win in your home floor. All right. All the pressure's on you.
Wouldn't that be a funny, like, it would never happen in real life, but wouldn't that be funny? A team actually took a nap during halftime and wake up and beat them.
I don't know. I feel like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar probably took a few little power naps at halftime. Right.
That would be hilarious. But I mean, Mark Cuban's probably gonna be going crazy. You know, I think there's probably gonna be some Dallas fans in Utah, to be honest. Because let's just be honest, Utah Jazz. I mean, before Donovan Mitchell, who were they? You know?
Yeah.
The only thing that was cool is probably the new jersey design. So it's like they have more work to do, is what I'm trying to get at. Like Donovan Mitchell, like, yes, he has some like good teammates, all right? Rudy's good, Jordan Clarkson's good, you know, but they're not like elite players, right? They're just like solid, decent players. But he needs more than that. He needs someone to be bananas. But he's going to be the main one that has to set the tone. Because if Donovan Mitchell's game is slow, trust me, everybody else's game is going to be mediocre.
Yeah. They could use another scorer. That's the thing with like the one trip pony situation. I feel that they have is like it's Donovan Mitchell or bust. Like, you know, he has to have a good game.
It's too much pressure for him.
Yeah, they need more depth. They need another star on that team to help with the scoring department. But they also have to figure out their locker room stuff because there was some drama between him and Gobert. They got to settle that like in the offseason or if one of them ends up getting traded. But that drama has to go for this team to elevate. But
yeah, and my last point I'll make is the team that I can see make a legit run to deep playoffs is Dallas. I can't see Utah have a deep run. Just there's no way.
Yeah, I think mentally they're not there. They're still. I don't know. I think they're still lingering on the drama that's going on.
They're basically like a Chicago Bulls from the East. They're a work in progress. Great team, not good enough to get to the conference finals. But definitely a team that you can watch for in the future if they get the right pieces built up in that franchise.
I think they suffered from the mentality issues, just like the Nets did. Because like the Nets, I mean, we'll talk about them, but the Nets, you could tell there was a locker room like issues. There was a mentality problem, and I think the Jazz were dealing with that. All through the second half of this season. And you could tell something was off. And when that happens, the team can't function at 100%. So with that being said, man, I think we got Mavericks, but they are not the only super stud squad team out there. We talked about the Nets briefly when we'll get to them, but who swept them? Those Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics shockingly swept the Brooklyn Nets. Yeah, 4 games straight. All of these games were pretty close, by the way. Game 1, Celtics won 115-114. Game 2, Celtics won 114-107. Game 3, Celtics won 109-103. And then game 4, they won 116-112. Highly competitive games all the way through the series, even though it was a sweep. Probably one of the most competitive sweeps you'll find. But the Celtics did a great job. They actually have the number 1 defense in the league, and it showed by how they hounded KD and the Nets. Here are Durant's numbers through these games. 23 points on 9 of 24 shooting, 27 points on 4 of 17, which is really bad. 20 of those points were off of free throws, by the way. So there's that's the little drawback there. So game 3, he scored 16 points on 6 of 11. So he disappeared there. And then 39 points on 13 of 31 shooting. So Durant, he struggled in some of these games. And that's that Celtics defense coming in the clutch. And And then Kyrie, here's some of Kyrie's numbers here. Game 1, he had 39, that monster 39-point game. And remember where he was complaining about the fans heckling him. And then game 2, he only scores 10 points. I mean, I get it. Like, he was fasting, and I get that. That's going to take a toll on your body. But, if you're going to make post-game comments about, I'm going to give it back to them, and, they don't have my respect at all, blah, 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 you got to show up. And 10 points is not showing up. Game 3, he only scored 16 points. And then game 4, he only scored 20 points. So, Kyrie dipped in his production. And again, credit to Boston's number 1 defense in the NBA. And we're talking a team that was on the fringe of missing the playoffs, like midway through the season. And they finished being the second best team in the East, a stacked East conference, by the way. So that says a lot.
Yeah. I mean, Boston as a player that should get a lot of just recognition, and that's Marcus Smart.
Mr. Defensive Player of the Year, huh?
Well, that, and he's also been scoring. I mean, just, he's getting good minutes, but he's also getting positive points. And when you got a player who can just do more than play defense, you have a weapon. And I think he's one of the weapons that Brooklyn had no answer for, especially, KD wasn't Hercules in the paint just to be nice. But, the problem with Brooklyn is I don't think they expected the Celtics to play as good as they did. I mean, Jalen played good. Robert Williams played good.
Horford. Yeah.
Al Horford. And obviously, Jason played good. But once again, the key words for me is Brooklyn did not expect all those weapons on the Boston Celtics. And when they showed up at different times, it's almost like they caught them off guard. Like some wolf was sleeping and the pig got he stole the Burger King meal. You know what I'm saying? And when they woke up, they was like, wait, what? I didn't know you had all those weapons. So
yeah.
Caught them by surprise, man.
He caught me by surprise.
I mean, I didn't know that they would make it look so easy. I thought it was gonna be more neck and neck. But Brooklyn almost manhandled Boston. I mean, that's the funny part. They didn't. I flipped that. I was trying to say Boston manhandled Brooklyn.
Yeah, I mean, all of these games were really close. So, this is a close sweep. It was a competitive sweep.
Oh yeah, it was close, but it's still embarrassing to get swept.
Oh yeah, a sweep is a sweep. Yeah, that's not going to change. But yeah, I like you mentioned, a lot of Boston's pieces showed up offensively. I mean, they were premier defense even going into the postseason. But I wasn't expecting Horford to drop like 20 points, Marcus Smart to drop 20 points. Pritchard showed up. They all their little role players, rotation guys showed up too and contributed. And of course you got Tatum, who, by the way, with this series, this playoffs has shown that Jason Tatum is not an all-star. He is a superstar.
Without question.
Yeah, he is ascended to like a Kawhi Leonard. Like he is that good, I think. And again, I'm not talking about, comparing resumes. Kawhi's resume is obviously better, but we're talking as far as like how talented a guy is. He is there.
Yeah. I mean, he made other players better on his squad. He had assists on top of points. One game he had 10 assists and he scored 41 points,
Yeah.
So it's like, you can't can't dispute the fact that this guy has transcended into another stratosphere. And real quick, Spurs should be happy because Derek White has some positive points in every game.
Derek White.
Not one game, he has 0 points. So that says something. That says that compared to another, player that got traded, he showed proof that he can be someone that can grow into the system of the Boston Celtics. And he had positive points. And, he also had every game since he's been in the playoffs, assists to other players. I almost said it wrong. Mm-hmm. But it's like, that's positive. Like, I'm trying to think of the right way I want to say it. That's a positive contribution that you can make to a new team that you call home.
Yeah, that's what makes it even more impressive, I think. Yeah. And the fact that right after that trade, I believe, is when the Celtics started turning their season around.
And the little things that he did, I think, helped shift momentum into the confidence of how they play. Mm-hmm. Because imagine this. If Derek White did not do anything, no assists, no points, heck, the guy even got rebounds, right? He got 6 one game, 6 another game, 3, 3, 4, 7, 1, 5, 2, 2. So it's like, I cheated by the way I look at stats on Google. But the fact that he was able to do that, man, that shows that he actually wanted to play. That means he didn't care what jersey he had on before.
Yep. Even on a brand new team.
Yeah. He had a new clarity on knowing his assignment, not carrying baggage, not carrying drama, not carrying, this how I used to do it back in Texas. No, he did his part. Was it a little splash? Yes, but the fact that he did it in the playoffs is crucial. Because like I said, the little things he did, it probably boosted the confidence of the whole team because now they trust you and they're like, we can trust this guy because he's going to do something. He's going to get a rebound. He's going to do some assists. By the way, he's going to score a little bit, and he's also going to do free throws. So,
not only that, but he hypes up the team, man. Have you seen him get excited for his teammates in Boston? Like he makes plays, and whenever he dunks the ball or whenever he does something, he gets hyped up, which hypes up his teammates.
The key is that he bought into the system and he made them feel comfortable of him being there. Yeah. That's the most crucial point of any player. If you are all about business, it don't matter if you get traded, right? It don't matter if you go here or go there. Once the team recognizes that you are literally going to embrace them and their culture and how they run stuff in Boston, you can see on the players' faces, they embrace Derek White. I'm sure they made good comments about Derek White. I can't remember one top of my head, but I'm sure players said some positive things about Derek White being on that squad because he got the assignment. And that's what matters when you're in the playoffs. It don't matter if your role is to pick up toilet paper on the floor. If you're the best toilet paper picker-upper, they're going to be calling on you because they can rely on you doing your assignment. And when every player relies on themselves,
they do their part.
Fulfilling their assignment, their role, guess what? Everybody has accountability and confidence to be the same mindset for themselves because they're like, if he can be the best toilet picker-upper, then I can be the best plunger. And then so forth and so forth. And before you know it, everybody has the best bathroom. I know that's a wild twist, but I'm just saying, like,
it works.
Like everyone is like different pieces of the car. Everything does its function. Everything's supposed to do what it's designed to do to make that car run. And that car is the organization. Or in that bathroom, it's the organization. If you want it to work fine, you got to have all the pieces to the puzzle doing its function, what it was designed to do. And it's great to see Boston look the way they are because they legit now can easily play in the finals.
Yeah. For sure. Imagine the confidence booster too. You eliminate the Brooklyn Nets, a favorite to go to the finals in the first round.
That's what I'm saying.
The confidence is through the roof.
Easily be in the finals. Easily.
Yeah. They've proven like, hey, we belong. We can do this. And Jason Tatum, just going to go through the stat line. Game 1, 31 points. Game 2, 19 points. Game 3, 39 points. In the series sealing game 4, 29 points. Beast.
I don't know if we ever talk about the Pelicans, but that's another team I say watch out for because I haven't seen enough to confidently say that they can be in the finals. But I will say this. If I keep seeing these sparks, they might be one heck of a story of being a team that no one really expected to go to the finals. But I'm just saying that's a different time for another show. But
they deserve an honorable mention.
Yeah, that's why I feel with the East for Boston. They literally can make it to the finals and no one was picking them in the beginning. They might be picking them now, but no one's picking them in the beginning.
Right. Yeah, no, mad props to the Pelicans for having a competitive series with the Suns. I know Devin Booker is out with an injury, but still the fact that they're able to stay neck and neck with them is very impressive. Brandon Ingram is an all-star, by the way. Mm-hmm. I think this is his spotlight right now.
The reason why I say they need more sparks for me to be confident to say it is because what I'm seeing from them that you can't coach is a lot of guts.
Yeah.
Like they're
not going away.
Yeah, they have the guts to stand up and fight and be like, no, we're in the playoffs. That means we didn't get here on accident. We didn't get lost on the map. Like we fought our way here. So I see just a lot of guts. And same can be said with Boston. I see a lot of guts with them because they're like, So what if y'all got KD? So what if Kyrie is lighting candles and meditating and doing all the spiritual stuff? Like, that's great, but we're going to show up and we're going to beat the crap out of y'all and sweep you.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we move on to our dud, we talk about similarities between the Pelicans and the Celtics. Remember, they have similar storylines here. The Pelicans barely got into the playoffs with their play-in matchup.
Yep.
They won that, and now they're being competitive with the Suns. Huge deal, big confidence booster. And then the Celtics, again, they didn't really start heating up until the second half of the season.
They taste the Krispy Kreme donuts and say, this actually tastes good. We wouldn't stay here for a while.
Yeah, this is good. Let's keep us on the donut line.
Let's take this away from KD because he obviously don't have the right team. Oops.
Oh.
Did I say that too soon?
No, speaking of KD, so we talked about a couple of first-round studs, but we got to talk about the number one dud, and that is the Brooklyn Nets. Shemaiah, this has got your name all over it. So
I have to have a disclaimer. Disclaimer is KD is one heck of a player, one heck of an athlete, one of the top in the NBA. All right, that said, this season does not reflect that, unfortunately. I'm not going to lie. I don't know what happened with Kevin Durant this year's, but I have a theory, or I guess you can say conspiracy. I don't know. Conspiracy theory. KD's mindset, right, was to get back to the finals. I think that was clear. But if you look at the beginning of the playoffs, there's a lot of distractions popping up in the media, But here's the thing, man. Before the playoffs, there's a player on that team that kept popping up in the media. Negative press. And we know who that is. I think that was just too much for the whole team as a whole. It's like you're on a boat, right? You try and get your destination. But you have like a couple players that keep drilling holes in your boat. And KD's desperately trying to plug the holes so they don't sink. Well, it gets to the point where the holes in the boat that are being put in, they get too big. So now the water's rushing into that boat. It doesn't matter how much KD does, that boat is going to sink. And I feel like that's what happened this season. It was just too many distractions and outside the locker room that got into the locker room that wasn't invited into the locker room. You know, you had the pandemic and you had someone with, you know, we should just talk about, you know, certain stuff with COVID to just be safe for safety purposes. But we all know who it was, that some distractions with that, you know, it's just a lot of distractions, you know, making headlines. I mean, you're talking about like everyone talking about your team because of a player refusing doing this or that or whatever. Like you can only take so much.
Well, they had two players that have been in the headlines, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, yeah, I didn't jump on the other one because we got on him.
We covered that one. By the way, if you haven't checked that one out, go check it out. It's in the name.
Yeah, I mean, we went through A through Z of bullet points while he was a distraction. But yeah, I mean, that's my metaphor. KD is still like one of the top players in the league, but he had too many distractions and a player leaving his squad. So it's like, you know, you can only take so much. Who was
also a distraction.
Yeah, so it's like three individuals who
surrounded by distractions.
Yeah, who distracted KD from getting to the finals. And I'm not trying to make an excuse for KD, but I feel like to not put blame on KD and protect him, because think about it. If you're Steve Nash, you're going to protect KD. You're going to be like, hey, we're not even going to entertain nonsense of everyone trying to say
best
that
player on the team.
Yeah, like some way, somehow you didn't play good enough defense or whatever. Like, he might have his moments. But my point is he could not carry the team like a LeBron James could carry his team with the Cavaliers. You know, like KD couldn't do that. But he also had some unfortunate distractions that probably prevented him from getting that water outside the boat and the boat just sank. Because, like, it don't matter how Superman you are, like, some distractions will sink the ship.
Yeah, for sure. And you know who else I feel bad for too? Oh, by the way, completely agree with Durant. Yeah, he's still fantastic, one of the best players in the league, top 3 for sure. I also feel bad for the other guys on that team because they balled, man. Like Andre Drummond, he's balled. Dragic balled. You know, Bruce Brown, like some of these guys they've got on here really showed up, especially even in these playoff games. I think Bruce Brown had himself like a 26-point game at one point. Like these guys want to compete, and it's not fair to them to have these distractions on this squad. You know, that just feels unfair to me, and because this team, I feel like most of this team was ready to take that next step, and it's just like you said, there's just too many holes in the boat. Like one guy and a handful of other dudes can't just win a championship. You know, you got to be together in uniform, and the mentality issues. We were talking about the Jazz. Having mentality issues because of their own self-doing, you know, and I feel like the Nets have kind of just self-imploded in that way too.
Well, 3 players on that team, 1 left, but 2 of them were there. 1 stayed and 1 was sent. It was like I like literally burped in my mouth, but they literally were playing like Halloween costume party. You know, we thought something was going to be something, but it turned out to a whole different situation. And it's unfortunate because we could be talking about them killing it and just dominating in the playoffs. But it's the opposite. They literally fell apart at the worst time. But I think it was something that was happening over time, you know, this season, because things were just not going the way they're supposed to go. Check, I think when Harden was with the squad, there was some friction, you know. And
him and Steve Nash had some friction there.
There's a little friction, man. And from the get-go, like, it's hard to recover from those situations, especially in the beginning. It's like a new shiny toy. You know, it's almost like, you know, when back in the day, in kindergarten, you got, your new favorite truck, car, or whatever. And you love that truck, car, or whatever. And then after 2 weeks, it's in the trash can. you have a new favorite Hot Wheel or something. That's
it's
what
just
it was like.
Broken.
Yeah, it's like that's kind of what the season was. Like it was all these like great potential storylines, but then it didn't stick. Like
it's just drowning in drama, man.
Yeah, at some point, Steve Nash is going to have to. He's going to have to make a spark because it's either going to be KD that leaves or Steve Nash.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what this team does going forward. But yeah, very disappointing season. And I'm actually, we talked about Ben, but I know we didn't. Harden had his issues too, even when he was on the team. He got hurt too. And, but Kyrie, I'm disappointed in him because he should have
for
been.
many reasons outside the basketball court.
Yeah. I mean, because he wasn't on the court.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't on the court for obvious reasons, but I mean, even when he was on there, at the same time, okay, Durant can hold the fort. It's still a distraction, but Kyrie is back later in the season to play all the games. He's fully loaded for the playoff series against the Celtics. And then he just gets distracted. And then he just doesn't show up in a few games in this pivotal series. There's just a clear lack of focus from him. And he doesn't take criticism well. And he feels the need to bite back when he doesn't have to. I mean, that first game, he got 39 points and the dude balled and he just soured that entire thing with his post-game conference, biting back at fans. I understand, we had already talked about him in the fan situation, and fans don't harass players, but the players also have to uphold a standard in the NBA, a professionalism, and go out there and shut your critics up with your play. And he did that in game one. And then game two disappeared.
People have to understand this. I'm not speaking for all fans, but I'm just speaking as Shemaiah as a fan, right? I'm paying for someone to play the game. I'm not paying them to make a speech in the interview. I'm not paying for that. I don't care what you guys say after the game. I only care about the stats. And anytime the athlete gets mad and worries about what fans think, are they really an elite player? Or are they just someone making noise who gets their feelings hurt? I know that sounds cruel, but think about it. Have you ever seen LeBron? Well, that's probably not a good example, but my point is he's backed up his frustration with fans by actually winning. I know it's bad timing to say that now, but I'm just saying in the past, if you ask yourself how many championships does LeBron James have, you can't argue with it. If you ask how many records have LeBron James broken, you can't argue with it. So my point is you can't get so frustrated with a fan or fans to the point it affects your game, because that's what they are supposed to do, right? That's why they pay to go to the game. It's to boo the other team. Have you ever heard a fan cheer on an opposing team and say, "I love you. I'm wearing the wrong jersey tonight, but I love you."
It comes with the sport.
I'm hoping that you.
It comes with all sports.
Yeah. Imagine how stupid it'll be going to games. It's just basically like hug time.
Do you want the opposing fans? Do you want the yeah.
I'll just make sure you hear me. I'm messing with you.
Hug your neighbor.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like, what does I'm trying not to single him out, but what do these athletes expect, man? Do they expect people to be like posters? I love you, even the opposing team. I love you. Like, no, come on. The game's already soft. Why you want to make it softer? You know, like we always say on this show, we're not talking about people who cross a line and talk about personal, you know, situations or personal family or anything like that, or calling you out of your name, you know. But if someone calls you Buzzle the Clown, please do not address that in the post-game conference.
Yeah, just don't put any attention to it.
Seriously.
It doesn't matter. If you don't put any attention towards it, no one's going to care. The only reason people are going to boo you even louder or do certain things to get under your skin is
gave them
because
attention.
You exactly. Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like, stop worrying about people who call you Bozo the Clown and take it as a compliment that you are actually doing something that makes someone hate you, dude, who is probably not a fan of your team. Hello, Mark, do you ever hear a fan talk bad about, well, that's probably not a good example. Have you ever heard a fan completely hate? Well, that's probably not a good example too. There's probably one person that can fit in that category. But we're trying to say, generally speaking, what's the likelihood of many fans in the NBA, you know, disliking a player who's on the same team? It's rare, you know?
Right.
It's not common. But when it comes to the opposite team, it's just the nature of the beast.
It's everywhere. Yeah. The fans are going to cheer their team. They're going to boo the opposing team. And that's the law of sports. That's the nature of sports.
When you are with your friends eating chicken wings and, you know, nachos or whatever, you don't talk about the opposing team in a positive way. Like, that's just a no-no. Like, come on. You have one job, and that is to play basketball with world-class athletes where most people in the nation that you live in would dream and fail, but wish they was in your shoes. You're living in a moment that no one else can live in. And you're also living it with other world-class athletes. And come on, stop the pity stuff, you know, and just like Pop would say, give some nasty, man. Because that's all people care about is you showing passion, because they take all the time, their busy schedule after work to go drive in traffic to see you. And if you have a problem with people speaking up to that, then shut up and go sweep floors at McDonald's.
Yeah. I mean, just go out there and play. Ignore the noise. Ignore the noise. Go out there and play. You're getting paid millions. They just went there for the game to have a good time. And if you go on the road, don't expect what are you expecting fans to give you flowers, give you roses?
Yeah.
Do you expect them to say, I want to have your kids? No. They're going to boo the crap out of you. And that's the nature of the beast.
If you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen, man. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
What you want fans to do? You want fans to play minutes for you? Is that what you want?
Right.
Like, get out here.
Right. Yeah. So this is the Nets. Like, it's, again, there's a lot of distractions, mentality issues, big time. I think, especially with Kyrie, I don't think he's mature. I think he overreacts to things, and he needs to fix that. He needs to grow up. He needs to mature. He's a fantastic player. The dude can ball. He's got some of the best handles in the league. I mean, every time I see him on TV, he does something ridiculous, like off the charts amazing with his ability. And he is so talented and he has so much potential, and he just he just can't let his emotions get the best of him. I think that's what's most frustrating about it. If he just focuses on the game, on the locker room, you know, keeping the guys together, supporting each other, then he can take it to that next step. And, you know, people won't look at him as some sort of way to, you know, like, oh, how can I troll this guy? You know, if he just goes and shows that stuff doesn't matter to him. What does matter the most is balling and winning a championship.
Yeah, and I will say this, in all fairness to KD, I can definitely see him get another ring or two in his career. But he's really got to be strategic. Seriously. He's either going to have to be vocal and be like, not in public, but you know what I'm saying, like in private. He has to be his teammates like, hey, like we either ride or die. Like we either go into the chip or we not going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Don't waste my time, because I'll try to get you out of here and get someone else to come in here who wants to get the chip, or I might just jump ship.
Yeah, next season or bust. That's what I'm going to say about the Nets. Next season or bust.
I would be even bolder. I think if KD doubts that he can get a championship with his squad or with a building squad, I would not be surprised if he wants to go to a different team.
For next season?
Yeah, because why would you waste your precious years left in the NBA? Because KD, he is not getting younger, man. He is getting older, but he ain't old, but he is getting older. So if I can see him get at least 2 rings in his career as far as championships, but he has to be very strategic. And he might have to pair up with someone like LeBron, or he's going to go somewhere like Miami. Because, man, if he went to Miami, that would be dangerous.
Yeah, good organization. Everyone's under control for the most part, you know. Not much drama. Yeah.
If he went to Miami team, oh my God. Or, I mean, just saying.
Yeah.
Brooklyn is okay, but if he's trying to get a ring, he's going to, like...
Personnel matters.
Yeah, he's going to position himself to where he can actually make that a reality, because, I mean, if he sticks with the same squad, the only way I see them winning, they're going to restructure some pieces, because distractions obviously keeps them from being consistent. I wouldn't say winning, because they have won and got to the playoffs. So it's not really that. That's the problem. It's basically being consistent all the way to the finish line.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Well, I think we've covered that dud. That is the Nets. And Nets fans, we do hope that they bounce back. They do get better. But, you know, we got to lay the facts out there. We got to lay the truth. This was a disaster of a season for the Nets. You know, we mentioned the Lakers, the Knicks, other teams who have really disappointed this season. But I'm hoping the Nets look at this, especially the players mostly, look at this as, okay, how are we going to improve? How are we going to improve our mindset? What went wrong this past season? And then they learn from all that and improve upon all their flaws and issues. Because that is the only way they are going to win a championship, is if they get past themselves. And that's it. So thank you all for joining us for the Baller Boys podcast. We tackled some studs and a dud. We got new episodes every week. Tune in on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We are on YouTube now as well. So if you prefer to pop open that YouTube app, type in Baller Boys podcast, and you'll see the nice shiny banner. I'm Mark, and he is the SOTB Shemaiah. Shemaiah, let him know what your Twitter handle is, man.
Well, I mean, I wish my Twitter handle was as popular as our, favorite, Elon Musk, but I'm getting there. Shemaiah on the BT. I don't have 1 million retweets and likes, but I do try to show positive stuff. So, yeah, that was probably the most boring pitch ever, but hey, deal with it.
Hey, do what you got to do, right? Follow me at Mark the MC, MARKTH, 3 3s, no E's, capital M, capital C. Follow us on Twitter. We post some funny stuff, retweet some fun stuff. Guys, tune in next time when we talk about your favorite sports, and more sports. Peace out. Tell your mom. Tell your grandma. Adios.